another episode of Unmasked with David and myself, Marissa.
Good to be here.
Amazing to be here. Today we're going to discuss proactive confrontation. And this is a topic that's very near and dear to me as a recovering confrontational person. I found this Kabbalistic tool or principle to be very valuable in my life, and it's certainly helped me reshape how I handle confrontation with the people in my life. The thing that really sticks out for me about proactive confrontation is that the idea is that we're not coming together to have a conflict, we're coming together to close the space between us. What's helped me a lot myself is now when there's something that I know needs to be confronted with either a loved one or a colleague or perhaps a vendor at work, now I try to remove emotion. So I wait until I no longer feel any which way about the subject or the person or the incident, and then that's when I know I can start to have the proactive confrontation. Did you want to sort of identify for us what proactive confrontation looks like or what the steps may be to get there?
If we get to the beginning of the understanding, the core of relationships, relationship can start very well between people. And when you trigger something within the other person, that's when space starts to enter in.
Mm-hmm.
And the space creates a lot of illusion within the relationship, meaning you start imagining what the person is thinking about you,
Mm-hmm.
if he conspire against you, if he likes you or hates you, and so on and so on. And this space, unfortunately, can grow unless you're going to be vulnerable enough to expose the problem.
Yes.
There is a problem. There are always going to be problems in relationship. It's designed this way because that's how we can learn things about ourselves. That's how we can remove some of our fears of confrontation, of speaking our mind,
Mm-hmm.
of standing up for ourselves for some people, or people that giving space for others to express themselves. So
Right.
confrontation is divided to two types of people. People that hate to confront,
Mm-hmm.
and they don't feel comfortable. Usually they belong to the water sign.
Mm-hmm.
Earth sign a little bit more lazy about it. They don't like to raise too much fire.
Mm-hmm.
And on the other hand, we have the air sign. That they are the communicators, they are the ones that like to speak. So if you like to speak, you probably like to argue
Mm-hmm.
and to make statements.
Yeah.
And of course, the fire signs, that they have no patience for the process and
Nope.
they want everything to be transparent and clear
And immediate.
immediate. Exactly.
And my way. Don't forget, it has to be my way.
And it's a lot about being right in confrontation.
That is the core of almost every issue I've had in my whole life. I realize now, before, everything I did was not only about being right, but making sure that everybody around me knew that I was right. That was my motivation for almost everything that I did.
I think we talk a little bit about justice, and justice is an amazing thing. But in relationship, it's not really about justice. It's not about being right. It's
Yes.
all we need to come eventually to the win-win relationship.
Mm-hmm.
It's all about the bond. It's all about, as we talked before, about zivug de'aka, binding by striking. It
Yes.
means that by us confronting, by us really coming to this argument, to this fight, appear to be in our imaginations that there is this enemy at work, the competitor,
Mm-hmm.
the someone that we are competing with constantly all the time on the
Mm-hmm.
who's going to be more favorable in the head of the leader or the head of the boss, and there is constant friction. It seems to be that we think the other person is the real enemy. But we know that the true enemy is really the enemy is within in our minds, the enemy of the thoughts. So before,
The ego.
yeah, the ego, but it's like what the ego drill in our minds in different statements, in different belief systems.
The stories that you tell yourself.
Exactly, all this illusion of who's right, who's wrong, who is stronger, who is weaker, who is more successful, who is less successful. All of that is something that I need to, before going into a confrontation, if I wanted to be proactive, because what does it mean proactive? It means that I will come to the confrontation, but not in the natural way that I'm facing confrontation usually.
Yeah.
So if the signs of water and the earth that they try to avoid and try to, just bypass any conflicts versus the fire and the air signs.
The fire will come and find you. The fire will search you
So
out.
both need to be in transformation.
Yes.
And that's what we're going to allow a win-win. What does it mean a win-win? It means that you're growing from that experience. This is the whole point, to grow from the experience of confrontation. Facing my fears, anxieties, facing my self-confidence.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So for me, previous to studying Kabbalah, confrontation for me would come from a place of anger. And in the moment, I would get really heated, I would sense injustice, and I would just attack. And it was nothing about closing space. There was nothing about hearing the other person's perspective. It was, I'm going to show you why I'm right and you're wrong. When I started studying Kabbalah, the first thing we learn is the pause. So a confrontation could happen or a moment could arise that's very uncomfortable, and I would do nothing. And I think that was the first step for me to begin becoming more proactive. But the second step was when I finally started to shift my consciousness and I started to give more compassion, not only to others, but also to myself. Pausing and having that compassion, all of a sudden it removed so many opportunities for conflict right away. Because now you're looking at things more empathetically from the other person's perspective. You're trying to see how maybe they were coming from a different place. And now it becomes more about trying to understand them. Where are they coming from? Ask questions, get curious. Ask myself, why am I upset about this? Why am I triggered by this? And how can I move forward with this person? Explaining myself, letting them see my point of view, but also creating enough space, as you mentioned, to allow them to share their point of view as well.
The biggest understanding that the other person is not the enemy. It's not the enemy. It's not my true war.
No.
The war is really to transform the anger and the hatred and the resentment and the feeling hurt into an energy of love and compassion. Exactly as you said. This is the transformation that I have to have before reaching out to the confrontation. Because usually when you are triggered, so you want to attack, you want to respond, you want to revenge.
Yes.
And if you wait a little bit and you sleep on it, and you think and you process your reactions.
Yes.
You process your emotion, and you're seeing that your emotions are really make you a very angry person and terrifying.
And you don't think straight.
It's terrifying.
It is.
And if you think about it, and then you come to the confrontation without it, with the intention to have more connection with the person, even if it's not from his side, even if he doesn't know that yet, if he doesn't really care, and he feels that you are his enemy, it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
You can buy a friend just by you changing your point of view. It's going to change the point of view of the whole relationship, and it's amazing.
It's truly amazing. So one tip that I've been giving friends recently whenever they come to me for advice is I say, just wait until you don't feel any emotion about the situation anymore. This is something our teachers talk about a lot. Just allowing that emotion to pass and really, like you said, going inward, really looking deep to understand why we were feeling this way. And also just talk to the universe, talk to the light, ask, why did this happen for me? What do I need to learn? What do I need to change? Immediately, it's already clear that it's not about the other person. It's solely about yourself.
Of course, there is the rule of the 3 days, we call it, If you feel very triggered and wanting to jump into the battle, wait 3 days, relax, and something else will come out of you automatically.
Yes.
And if you're processing your reaction, for sure, it's going to be amazing result. I want to share with you 5 steps that can help us in a confrontation to make it a win-win. So first, is to send some positive energy to the other person.
Okay.
Even though you know he's angry or he's upset, you don't care. What you meditate on it. You know, this is like a completely out of our nature to meditate, to send positivity or blessing to someone that resent us. Yeah. So this is like the first thing that we have to do.
Huge.
Second is to let go of our entitlement. Is whatever I think, whatever it means, think to me that it's right.
You owe me.
Entitlement means I'm fixated on the result I want to achieve from that conflict or what it represents.
Right.
Yeah? That's the entitlement.
So
I deserve. Usually we get into conflict because we think we deserve, and the other person thinks he deserves too, and that's where the collusion starts. Yeah.
So you start with positivity, and then it's like you let go.
No acceptation about the outcome of this proactive confrontation. Yeah.
That's very powerful.
And the third one is to have appreciation. I'm really appreciating I can deal with some painful situation, and I'm appreciating the opportunity that is given to me.
Yeah.
Because, of course, understand your own negativity, understand your own ego within.
I think that's the hardest one for so many people, for so many of us. It's so much easier to see someone else's negativity than our own.
It's true, but sometimes other people's negativity reflects on the way we design.
It's a reflection of something you don't like in yourself, typically.
It says that someone cannot identify something wrong about anything in life unless it's carry that attribute inside of him.
Yes.
So it's a good indicator. So always try to do this reflection.
Yes.
And then when I understand my own negativity, I understand my own ego, and if I able to put it aside, most likely that this confrontation is going to be amazing.
That's very powerful. Something that also helps me as well, this is a little bit out there, but I often now when I'm agonizing over something, I try to talk to that person's soul. I might just, sit on my patio and just have a conversation with them. And it's usually through that dialogue that more love and more compassion is injected. And then I really do start to see things from that other person's perspective. I also believe in the power of maybe they're feeling my love and they're getting my messages as well.
Absolutely. It's known that, before you go into an interview, because interview is kind of a confrontation, isn't it?
Yes.
It's very uncomfortable.
Yeah.
You try to...
Unless you're me.
What do you mean?
I love interviews.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
Imagine yourself, it's something that you've been, the job of your dream.
Right.
So you're going to get a little bit fear, anxiety there. Must be, because otherwise we're not humans. Yeah. So the confrontation of an interview, there is a lot of agendas, a lot of expectations, and a lot of the unknown. You don't know what type of question you've been asked.
Yeah.
You don't know what type of people you're going to meet in the interview.
Yeah.
And so you just hoping that you are the right person for the job. So one of the things is to do, like the night before, kind of visualization. Seeing you sitting in that meeting and feeling the positivity, feeling that you are calm and you are certain and there is a good vibe, there is a good communication with the one that is interviewing you. And you kind of setting the future, the way it's going to be.
Yeah.
This is the power of consciousness, pretty much. This is the reason in any confrontation, if you don't do the battle within before you confront the other person, most likely the physical result is going to chaos.
Well, David, I've taken a few classes on proactive confrontation, and it's obviously mentioned a lot in many different courses that we can study. But I found this conversation actually to be very helpful, and I learned a lot from this, and I'm going to have a lot of takeaways from this. So thank you very much.
Listen, all these recordings that we're doing together, it's a type of confrontation. We are friends, of course, but we are confronting
The uncertainty of what the other will say.
Also, the idea of the outcome and
Yeah.
how many people it's going to influence. So
How many likes we'll get.
exactly. Send us some feedbacks.
Yes, definitely.
Okay, have a great week.
Yeah, you too.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, everyone.